I've noticed about your films in general is that a lot of the horror that we see seen through like the eyes of innocence, right?
Yeah.
Like children or those who are sheltered. What is it that draws you to that type of horror?
Again, I don't know if I would even refer to it as horror. I love characters that are coming from a sense of openness, and so children generally fit that mold, that kind of like 10 to 15-year-old thing of like they're just about to give up believing in things, and they're like, wait a second, I don't know, is there aliens, or is there something going on with the grandparents? I like that moment in time. But I don't know if I would say it was horror. Everyone says horror. I guess the reason I don't like that title is because I don't like most horror. You know, it's not my cup of tea. Things that are devoid of performance and depth and meaning, gratuitousness, has no interest to me whatsoever. You know, but old school horror, old school scary movies, used to be able to do all of those things really, really well together. I like family-driven conflict.
With that said, are you at all reluctant to put The Visit into a genre? And if you were forced to, what would you call it?
I am reluctant. I want to make genre-breaking movies, but you know, to some extent, I guess this is in my opinion, this is my scariest movie. You know, I think it is. That's what the characters were experiencing. It was terrifying, so the audience should have that. It's funny. It's really, really funny. I think, you know, I tend to think all the movies that I make, my original movies that I made, I've made 2 movies that weren't my ideas, but all the other movies are kind of thrillers. They're psychological thrillers.
What is that? It's 10:47. We think there's someone outside the door.
The reason that this movie got to me so much is because when I was a kid, I used to have nightmares about my parents becoming someone else. And it's that the familiar becoming unfamiliar.
Yeah, what you're talking about is kind of a primal childlike fear, which is our loved ones are going to be threatening to us or abandon us. All of those fall into those tropes of our fears when we're a kid, and really is what the Grimm's fairy tales are about, which is your parents abandon you in the forest. You go to a grandmotherly house and she tries to eat you. You know, this is what I was doing in The Visit, playing on that fear that your loved ones, your grandparents, are threatening to you, you know, and that's just primally wrong in every way. And so we're talking about those things in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would go so far as to say it's like slightly perverse.
Perverse? That's a good word.
Yeah.
That's a good word. Yeah. I definitely enjoyed being crossing the line in the movie.
Well, I enjoyed watching it. I was also really curious about the fact that this is, as you said, it's really funny.
Yeah.
And you know, that struck me as being a little like different for you. Like, what were the reasons behind that? Was that something that you consciously?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so that was from the outset.
Yeah, from the outset. I'm in that headspace right now. That kind of dark comedy. I don't even know if a comedy is the right word, but dark humor kind of mode. David Lynch kind of like, you know, the guy's dancing with a mask and Blue Velvet. You know, am I supposed to be laughing and you know, repulsed? What am I? You know. I love that. I don't know what that's called, but that feeling, it feels more appropriate now than, let's say, 15 years ago. You know, that would have been too weird and dark. But now, for whatever reason, the world's in the right place. The way we see things, maybe we've just seen too much with the internet and all this stuff, that balance feels just right now.
It reminded me a lot of Peter Jackson's early splatter, Dead Alive. It had a real, like...
Oh, that's right. That's interesting.
It's got that really slightly, like...
Demented.
Demented.
Yeah.
That's such a good word for it.
Yeah, it's demented. And what I tried hard to do is justify the dementia that was going on, if I can use that word.
Yeah.
You know, and still have the movie grounded, you know, because critically, you know, that's critical for me that the movie it's not an alternate world where people are acting not like us and not like they're acting crazy and why. You know, that's what the movie's about, because it is still our world. It still has the value systems that we have.